and it's not just Ukraine. I've heard a lot of Western pundits. General Ben Hodges was on the other day with Danny Davis talking about this. They got themselves convinced. Oh, the Russian people, they're just looking for an excuse to get rid of Vladimir Putin. And again, and it comes back. We touched on this earlier. What in the hell is wrong with these people in the West that believe if they get rid of Putin, man, and our magic, solution to all problems solved? For the love of God, Putin is a moderate. He's been a voice of restraint, counseling, caution. Instead, because one of the biggest criticisms of him in Russia is that he's too soft. And it'd be one thing if we in the West were as powerful as we'd like to imagine that we are, but we're not. We can't even produce 155 millimeter shells at any rate, or Patriot missiles, or ATACMS missiles, or JSAM missiles, or go down the list, or M1 Abrams tanks. We don't have the industrial capability to do that right now. Could we rebuild it? Sure. That takes some time. And it would take a complete refocus of this society, and it would end up creating an economic crisis. Because right now we're already in debt beyond the wealth of our country as measured by GDP. And launching on this kind of military buildup would further put us into debt.
Yeah. One of the points in the Zelensky's victory plan is to get an invitation from Joe Biden to be part of NATO. Do you think that Joe Biden would do that for them?
No, but Ukraine will never be part of NATO. Ukraine will never be part of the EU. And there's a question whether there will even be a Ukraine in another year.
It seems, because the way that they're thinking of it right now, they're thinking being part of NATO would facilitate their entry to the European Union. The way that it seems, that because Yermak was talking about this, we have to drag NATO into the conflict as much as possible.
Oh, you mean like how it worked out for Turkey? Right? Oh, yeah, let's get Turkey into NATO and it would pave the way for the EU. Yeah, good luck with that. 30 years later. Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. This is all just mindless political posturing. Ukraine is a dying country right now. It's dying. It has lost more than 50% of its population. They're in other countries, and they're probably not coming back. On top of that, you've had probably in excess of 1 million casualties. And some have suggested 1 million dead that are between the ages of 20 and 40. Well, those are dead men that aren't going to be fathering children. And if you're not fathering children, you're not replenishing society, and society is going to grow old and die. That's what Ukraine is dying, and the West needs to recognize it. There really is, at this point, it doesn't appear any way to bring them back to life. They're a terminal patient. They're in hospice. Let's put it that way.
Do you find it as a good sign the way that Joe Biden is reacting to Europeans not to send this long-range missile, as a sign that from now on we're not going to see any sort of escalation on the part of NATO?
No, because this decision to try to not ramp up at this time and provoke the Russians, that calculus could change after the election. So if right now the Democrats don't want to do anything that will seem to potentially jeopardize their ability to try to get Kamala Harris elected, but once the election's passed, if it looks like Harris is going to be president, then all bets are off. I mean, good God, the idea of that woman, as mentally demented as Joe Biden is, she's even worse. She can't claim dementia as the problem of her, complete lack of judgment with respect to foreign policy and international affairs.
Larry Stoltenberg recently was talking about the GDP and how